I thought a lot this week about Reverend Shannon's talk last week. She gave us a tool for transformation, and it is powerful. How many of y'all saw that talk last week and know what I'm talking about? Okay, how many of you worked it? Okay, right? Okay, so Reverend Shannon last week gave us a powerful tool for transformation that says when you are having a thing with someone, she explained it much better than me, so go watch it on the YouTube, those of you who didn't see it. But when you're in a thing with someone, when you go to approach them about it, start with the truth of them. Just start with the truth of them. I practiced this just this morning with my teenage daughter. She came to me while I was brushing my teeth this morning, and she said, "Mom, how clean is clean for my room this week?" And I was brushing my teeth, and so I tried to make a joke. I tried to say on a scale of 1 to 20, give me a 15, but it came out on a scale from 9 to 20, give me a 15. And she was like, "Mom, I don't even know what that means. What's a scale of 9 to 20? I don't know." And then I looked at her and I said, what I know about you is that you love your animals so fiercely. And what I'm inviting you into doing is creating a safe place for them to be with you. And she said, "Oh, yeah, okay. I'll go pick up the scissors off my floor so the golden retriever can sleep there," right? But this tool of transformation is I told her a truth about herself. And so instead of it becoming a confrontation of a fight, of the scale of the room cleaning, I don't know, just clean the room. Shannon, why can't they just clean the room? Instead of it becoming an argument, it became something that we were like shoulder to shoulder working towards something together because she was in agreement with the truth of who she really was, right? I was thinking about, I practiced this a lot this week, and I'm telling y'all, this is a powerful tool. I practiced it with myself. I had this like nagging cold this week, and it was just one of those icky little things, and it was just brought me low energy. But I found that committee in my head. I was beating myself up for only getting by. I'm not a just get by person. I don't know if you've noticed this about me. I am not a do the minimum and then get out kind of gal. And so I had this committee, and I was like just really righteously judging myself for my inability to get anything done this week beyond the bare minimum. And finally I said, "Shelley, come on. You know who you are. You know that you are a give it all kind of gal. What's going on?" And then the other committee in my head said, "We need rest, you know?" But first I had to acknowledge the truth of myself before I could get underneath it to what was going on. So I'm telling you, this tool that she gave us is so powerful. And I want to thank you, Reverend Shannon. I'm going to keep working that tool. It's amazing. Reverend Shannon is also the first person who ever elucidated for me the difference between call-out culture and call-in culture. We have reached a place in our culture here in America where we are in a place called call-out culture, right? We do it all the time on the social media. Don't pretend that you don't see it like everywhere. Even our news agencies have like turned into this calling out of each other instead of like journalism and reporting on what's happening in the world. There's so much important stuff happening, right? We call each other out. And here's what I want to say about calling out. For me personally, it was an important journey for me to learn how to call someone out, to say, "Ouch, that hurt me." I had to learn how to do that. But you see, what happens once we learn how to do that is we discover a little bit of power, and sometimes we tend to overuse that power, and we start to use that calling out to shame and blame instead. And shame and blame is never going to get us shoulder to shoulder going in the same direction. It never is. Some of you I'm not looking at you, husband. I don't know why you would think this. Some of you have a committee of call-out culture that lives in your head. And I'm just going to invite you this week that as you notice that, to say, wait a minute, I know the truth of you. Wait a minute. And I'm going to invite you to start shifting some of those judges to the other end of the spectrum. Right? It's okay to call me out. I made a mistake, and I need to know that I made a mistake. And that mistake is not the truth of me. And you see, this is call-in culture. Reverend Shannon was the first person I ever heard use this term, and now I see it everywhere. Call-in culture says, I know the truth of you. Hey, come back. Come back to the truth of you. It's a powerful, powerful thing to be in a call-in culture. You're calling them back into our bodies. We're calling us back into our truth. We're calling us back into what we know to be really true about ourselves and the world, right? We're calling us back into belonging. That's what call-in culture does instead. So this tool that Reverend Shannon gave us is a tool for calling ourselves and each other back in, and it's done with love. There is no argument about whether scissors belong where golden retrievers sleep when everyone is on the same page. You see, call in culture. But what I'm discovering as I am learning and growing and becoming a spiritually mature person is that there is something really powerful when y'all can call me back into myself. There's something even more powerful when I can do it for myself. And so today we're going to talk about step 2 of this process, which is calling ourselves back home, calling ourselves back in. Ernest Holmes said, every person's life not only has God, but all of God, back of, within, and through them. Everyone, every person's life not only has God, but has all of God within, through, back of us, in front of us, all around us, right? And if you don't like the word God, what's your word? Love. Every person's life not only has love, but all of love back of, within, and through them. Right? Power. Every person's life not only has power, but all of power back of, within, and through them. I've been playing a lot lately with the word light as a word for God. Let's try that. Every person's life not only has light, but all of light back of, within, and through them. I was, a couple of months ago, I got to drive my daughter Faith down to Southern California for college. And I can see the question on your face. She's doing fabulously, y'all. She's doing so great. She loves, loves, loves Long Beach. And she loves studying music education. She's really thriving down there. But we got to spend, 19 hours from Portland to Long Beach, right? Usually we have a playlist that we collaborate on, but since this was our last drive together, I asked her to put her playlist on. And so it was a lot of female singer-songwriter music for 19 hours, which is awesome. I love it. I listen to a lot of other stuff too. There was a lot of Taylor Swift. And she is prolific and puts out a lot of marvelous music, but it was a lot for 19 hours. A lot. But she introduced me to this one artist that I had heard a couple of her songs, and now she has a couple on the radio, but Faith has been listening to her for quite a while. Her name is Lizzie McAlpine. Lizzie McAlpine. She's a marvelous, marvelous singer-songwriter, and she has this song, and the chorus goes like this. It says, I'm alone almost every night, and I don't know if I'm processing right. But my therapist says to just let light be light. And, right? And just my therapist says, just let light be light. And the name of this song, I come to find out later, is Let Light Be Light, which I thought was a great title. So I titled the talk today that, Let Light Be Light. And I thought, I had a long time to sit in the car that day, and I thought a lot about this idea of letting light be light. Because, when we allow light to be light, the shadows go, and we don't fight the shadows. We don't have to understand the shadows. We don't have to figure out why our mommies are responsible for our shadows. When we turn on the light, the shadows go. And there's an ease to it. Ernest Holmes also said, there is a light that permeates the world, but we have not sensed it. We need, in the silence of our own contemplation, to take time to feel that light and to see it. There's a light that permeates the world, but we haven't even begun to sense it, y'all. We need to take time in our contemplation, in our meditation, time in the silence, time in the spiritual practice that is washing dishes, right? To take time to contemplate the light. We need to feel it. We need to see it. We need to know within ourselves that it's there, that it's real, that it heals. This light, it interrupts the patterns of our smallness. It interrupts the patterns of our past that we like to drag into our present, right? This light is a disruptor and a transformer. And it's time for us to befriend it, to let light be light in our lives. Your favorite poet and mine, Mary Oliver, said, but I also say this, that light is an invitation to happiness, and that happiness, when it's done right, is a kind of holiness, palpable and redemptive. Light is an invitation to happiness. An invitation, when you get an invitation to a party, it means you have to get up off the couch. You have to put on something pretty, and you have to walk out the door and do something that you don't normally do. You have to get up, you have to prepare yourself, and you have to do something that you don't normally do. Light is an invitation to happiness, but only if we are willing to take the steps to accept the invitation. That RSVP, yes. Put on your pretty dress and let light be light. I was thinking a lot about how I, especially since the pandemic, I haven't always shown up for the party. And I started to wonder within myself, do I let God be God in my life? Do I show up for joy? Do I prepare myself for joy? Or have I been spending more time focusing inward on the things that I wish that were different, on the things that maybe I don't want to say dislike about myself, but the things that I'm still growing, right? The things, how often in my life am I turning within to focus on the worry, to focus on the what ifs, to focus on the, but it'll never be the same again because. How often in my life am I turning within to focus on these things instead of turning within to focus on the light, on the truth of who I am? Am I spending as much time in prayer and looking for truth as I am in worry, as I am in complaining, right? Am I? Am I really? These things that I'd like to see different. I started to wonder if I turn within myself to find grace. I'm just going to wonder for all of us if we're turning within enough to find the things that are holy here, to focus on truth. There are times, and there are a lot of times, and in these days there are important things happening to where we need to focus on the shadow. There is a lot happening in the world that needs our love and our care and our attention. And there are things that we need to look at in order to live beyond them, right? There are also things that we look at in a way that becomes obsessive and unhelpful. There are some political things happening in America today that we are focusing on in obsessive and unhelpful ways, when what we need to do is reach over and turn on the light of truth and then turn away from the thing. There are many things that we need to dig into, that we need to delve into, but it takes spiritual maturity and discernment to know the things that need to go into and the things that need to be looked at and said, oh, you need some love. You need some light. You need someone to call you back into the remembrance, the reminder of the truth of who you are, right? And the thing is that when we do that, when Reverend Shannon tells us to tell the truth of the person and then get curious and ask questions, right? We don't then follow them around like a little unmoored lighthouse, like shining light on them and reminding them of their truth, right? No, we remind them of the truth, we clear it, we move on, right? The light dissipates the shadow. It doesn't require constant attention to the shadow to bring the light. It's a really fine line there, isn't there? Because we talk a lot in this community about the need for looking at the things of the world and then looking beyond them to the truth. We don't just ignore what's happening. We don't ignore the shadow. We don't pretend it's not there. We shine the light on it, and then we move on. We be the light. There's a great Annie Lamott quote in one of her books where she talks about the moment that she realized that the lighthouse doesn't go chasing around the shore looking for people to rescue. It just stands in one place and shines, right? I think that a lot of our unconscious shadow work that we're doing and paying attention to what's wrong in the world is our unconscious desire to fix out there so I will be safe in here. It just is. And that's a very beautiful human response. My God, if I could just wave a magic wand and fix Israel this morning, don't you think I would? Of course. We send our love, we send our light, and doesn't feel like enough, does it? Here's the thing. You don't get to chase all over the island looking for things to rescue. You get to be the light in your life, right where you are, and do the next right thing. That's what you get to do. You get to feel all of the feelings and recognize them as messages about what you're seeing in the world and what you're believing and what you need. And then you get to move through them in the right time. We get to let light be light. We don't get to fix it all. I don't get to fix Israel this morning. And that's hard and painful for me. But I can let God be God everywhere. I can do my work to amplify God right where I am in my life, with my family, with the way I choose to use my money, where I donate is amplifying God. Money amplifies God if you use it properly, right? But what I don't get to do is I don't get to fix the world. Because the energy that's under fixing, The energy that is under fixing is death. It's saying this thing needs to go. And the energy that is God is life. Life everlasting. Love everlasting. Peace everlasting. This is what we know for the hurting places in the world. But in order to know it for them, we have to know it for us. So for you today, what do you need to know peace, to choose love, to choose light, to let it hold sway in your life? What do you need to be able to clean the windows of your lighthouse a little bit? Do you need to acknowledge that committee in your brain that is telling you it's not enough? Maybe. Do you need to acknowledge that committee in your heart that says this really hurts? Yeah, you do. But Ernest Holmes didn't say we pretend that the things of the world don't exist. What he taught us is we look at the things of the world and then we turn to truth. So I'm just going to ask you today, what's your true nature? And once you know what your true nature is, you can call yourself back into that place anytime, anywhere, no matter what is happening in the world. We had so many beautiful examples of this. The Buddha, when he's being tempted by Maya, right? He knew his true nature and he stuck with it. I invite you this week to know your true nature and to stick with it. I'm playing, as I said before, with this idea of God as light, this great disruptor that changes patterns. I had laser surgery on my gums a few years ago, right? Lasers, light, disrupted a pattern that wasn't serving my body. Isn't that crazy? So when I say light is a disruptor of patterns, I'm not talking some woo-woo. I love woo-woo, so I can't give it a pejorative. I'm sorry. I'm not talking about something that is like magical thinking. When I say light is a disruptor, I mean light is a disruptor. It disrupts the old patterns that no longer serve so that we can build healthy tissue. Be that. Be that light. Be the light that is power. Be the light that is grace. Be the light that is a love that is incomprehensible. But be it for yourself. And then be it for your family. Be it for your coworkers. Be it for the world. Be that. This light doesn't have the power to transform. This light is transformation itself. And so I would like for us to take a few minutes today and raise our collective consciousness to a place of healing and light for the Middle East this morning. Are you willing to do that with me? Yeah. And if for you, if there's something in your life that you are thinking, I need this light for me, take it. There's more than enough to share. This process that we're going to do, use it for yourself. Shine that light in your own life if you need to. But for the rest of us, let's know this light at the center of the Middle East today, of all the hurting places, shall we? Yeah, okay, thank you. I appreciate your willingness this day.